How impressed are you with the things that were unveiled today, the watch in particular?
You know, the problem with any product launches these days, you already know what is going to be on the show. Like the watch story we broke on GigaOM, so we knew about what it looked like, what's going to be in there. I was about 80% right, a little off on the processor speeds and whatnot. But, you know, again, this is a really nice way for Samsung to get ahead of the news curve, get ahead of Apple's news, because when Apple news comes and it becomes talk of the town for a very long time, mostly because they do interesting things or they don't do interesting things. Apple has a way of capturing the media momentum in that sense. From a product standpoint, I think, you know, their Galaxy line of phones and, you know, phablets are interesting, and, you know, obviously they sell a lot. I was a little bit underwhelmed by the watch. I would not put it on my wrist just yet. I'm more picky than most people, but
maybe just a little more picky.
Yeah, and I also like my analog watch a lot, and I think there is a certain build quality which is involved in a really good analog watch, and I didn't see that from this watch, the Galaxy Gear. I didn't really think I need it. Like $300 is expensive, even though, you know, I'm happy to spend much more money on a watch. I just didn't think it didn't grab me that I would run out and buy it.
So should Apple be worried? Sounds like you don't think so.
No. I don't think anybody should be worried about what other people are doing, right? They should be worried about what they are not doing. I think Apple has to worry about what they have to do and what they can't do. And if they start worrying about Samsung and Sony and Microsoft and Nokia, I don't think they're going to win.
So Apple's event is next week. We're expecting them to unveil at least one new iPhone, potentially a cheaper iPhone, potentially also an update to the iPhone 5.
Yeah.
We're also, you think, potentially there could be something having to do with TV.
I am saying, I wrote a little post yesterday which said there might be a new Apple TV set-top box, the one they actually sell.
So this isn't the Apple TV unicorn that we've been talking about for months and months.
From what I understand is that is ways off, at least 12 months off.
Do you think that actually exists, or could this unicorn just be some extremely better version of the set-top box as it exists now? I
mean, you know, a lot of the rumors you hear about Apple's, there is about half of them are true, right? Like, people were talking about the iPhone long before there was an iPhone, and people were talking about iPad long before there was an iPad. Again, there is an iWatch and there is a TV. The timing of it is a little hard to predict.
How do you, as someone who runs a prominent blog, how do you deal with the rumors and the speculation and separate fact from fiction?
I think it's just as being over. Like, you have sources.
It's not that old. I mean,
yeah, but like if you've been doing it for a long time, you hear from certain people, and you kind of have, whether they were right with the information, they were wrong with the information, you kind of have a mental checklist. Some things just don't make any sense. The iPhone made a lot of sense. There was some reporting back in the day we did, and I didn't have enough information to write a piece. But I think a lot of the speculation which gets out has an element of truth to it. Not 100%, but maybe somewhere between 10 to 30% truth is there in these rumors. A lot of companies start a lot of products. Most of them don't come to market. Apple does that all the time.
So how big a problem is it for Apple that an Apple TV set isn't out yet, a smartwatch isn't out yet? Yet there are smart TVs and smartwatches out there aplenty already.
There was a lot of phones before iPhone came, and there were a lot of tablets before iPad launched. I think Apple has to do what Apple is good at, making great products people want to buy, not get distracted by what other people are doing. And I think that is the #1 thing Apple has to do. The second thing I feel is about Apple is, as a company, it has lost a bit of a grip on its own storyline. It cannot control its own message as well as it did during the Steve years. So they need to kind of take a step back and say, how do we go back to taking control of our own story.
Is it because Steve isn't there? Is it because, is it some top-down thing?
I don't quite know why that is. I think a majority of the reason, you know, people, there is a missing storyline is because Steve is not there. Because he was a central character to the Apple storytelling. I think the storyteller is very important, and I think Apple has to find a new way of telling their story. And not the Steve way. I don't think that is also the right way of thinking about Apple, but also thinking about how do we tell our story? What do we do next? And I think we saw some of that at WWDC when they kind of pre-announced a product without really having a product, the Mac Pro.